Ms. Jackman?
The largest budget that I had to put together was right about $7,250,000, and it was for a subdivision. I used to have a company called Total Business Solutions, and I did payroll for over, at the height of it, 52 different businesses. So I had a really good handle on the math part of it. I have been hired by different attorneys over the years to audit companies. I'm very good at that. My previous job experience with Sterling Jewelers, who owns, like, right now over 30,000 different retail outlets. Their favorite thing is making me go audit people's books because it just jumps out at me. I love figures. They're there for me. I think that our council has done a good job on the budget. I went in and reviewed it on the line, so if everybody's worried about transparency, turn on your computer, go to the town website, go to the financials. They're there. You can see them. They're there. All right? And having said that, I want to thank our town council for putting the new money that came into good work.
Mr. Golembuski?
Yes, I do not have any municipal experience. I run my own landscape company for 35 years. I had one in the valley. I sold it and helped them develop it. They're doing $15 million a year. I know how to do a budget. I know how to spend money. I know how not to spend money when you don't have it. I worked for the Parks and Recs for almost 2 years. I've done maintenance, and I know what tractors and equipment and a lot of things cost, and I know what payroll should be at, and I know what administration salary should be at, and I know that we increased our sales tax talking about budget, and we only needed I think $500,000 and maybe $600 for next year, and I don't think our current council and mayor even took a look at the way we could find that money ourselves, and I don't know what they're doing with the rest of the $3 million or the $2.5 million. But I don't believe they needed to raise the tax that much, and if I were involved with the budget, we would have taken a look at it and said, hey, we only need 0.31. Let's try to get the people's support for raising the sales tax just to pay for the pension fund, not try to go for a 0.88 to say, wow, we have a lot of extra money to spend. What can we spend it on? You know, you don't do that in your own business. And I've had my own business, and I know how to budget money, and I'm good at math, and I think I can help make it work by being on the ground and seeing what they really need to spend it on. And it's your money, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes question 3, and the order of response for question 4 is going to be Mr. Golembuski to go first, then Mr. Chittick, then Mr. Auld, Mrs. Jackman, Mr. Higgins, and then Mr. Ferris. And this question from the audience, and it was addressed to Jeffrey Auld, but everyone gets a chance to respond under the rules. So it says, since these propositions were so poorly written, did you even think about all the unintended consequences that would absolutely ruin this town?
Well,
Mr. Golembuski.
okay, number one, I don't think they were poorly written, and I don't think there's any unintended consequences. I believe in Jeffrey Ale. I believe in Jim Ferris. I believe in Tom Morrissey. And I believe in what he wrote. And the only reason I got involved, one of the reasons, was because of the propositions, because they would not let us vote on our own public park where they want to build 2 hockey arenas, and they can't find their own private land to build on. You know, they could find private land behind Walmart's, put their arenas there, and good luck to them. But no, they want to build in our park where it's free, and our taxpayers are going to pay for it. And so what else could Jeffrey do but stand up for the people and write some propositions that would allow us a vote? Because this mayor and this council will not give us a vote on anything. And they've just about told us time and time again that we are governed by a republic where we don't get a vote. We vote them in, and they vote for us. So you're going to have to put initiatives on the ballot in order to allow people to vote on a lease of our public park for more than 3 years and expenditures of over $1 million a year. So what else can the people do? Just sit around and say, okay, the council, just go ahead and, we're run by a republic, just go ahead and do whatever you want. So I have my 100% faith in Proposition 401 and 402. I'm voting yes on both of those. And I have 100% faith in Jeffrey Hale and Jim Ferris, Tom Morrissey, and I have faith in this town too. Thank you.
Ms. Chittick?
Well, this is kind of a tough crowd, and I'm standing between two of the biggest supporters of 401, 402. So I'm probably going to get a few tomatoes. I absolutely am against 401, 402. I've been researching the unintended consequences of both of them, and it would severely inhibit our mayor and town councils need what they were elected to do to make decisions for our town. If they put every single decision for a 3-year or longer lease or any expenditure over $1 million, we'd be in trouble. As John Wilson said earlier, we're only allowed 4 elections a year. So if there's something comes up, a town building burns down, a fire truck is destroyed, we have to wait till the next election and spend $20,000, $25,000 for another election. And all of you who don't like signs all over town, well, right now signs are only around every 2 years. If this passes, there will be signs 4 times a year all over town. So, you decide what you like. Think about the unintended consequences. 41402 is not like a bowl of granola, nor is it like the Bible. You can't just reach in and take out what you want and abide by what you want. You have to take all of it. The 401, 402, it applies to everything. And you have to take all of it. You can't just say, I want to use this part, or I want to use that part. So, again, I'm absolutely opposed. I firmly believe, I've done my research, it would severely tie the hands of our mayor and council, regardless of who that is, whether it's Mayor Swartwood, myself, whomever. We'd be in trouble.
Mr. Hall?
Could you do me a favor, Mr. Potts, and read that question for me?
On your time.
That's good. Go.
Since these propositions were so poorly written, did you even think about all the unintended consequences that would absolutely ruin this town?
I have. It comes as a surprise to most people when they come and hear me speak, and I've been doing this since about January, where I will explain this process to people. A lot of people make a lot of assumptions. Curiously, in the initial drafting of this, it was shopped to a fair number of people that wish to remain anonymous, including former council people, various attorneys, and I'm hard-pressed to think of virtually any suggestion that was made that was not incorporated. We worked hard to eliminate unintended consequences. For the issue on, which appears to be a common theme tonight, a special election, I'll remind you that our town has a 1-year budget cycle, a 2-year election cycle. If it's not triggered until $1 million, I would hope that there's a little bit of forethought into spending $1 million. The other one on the lease issue, people will say, well, we can't have a lease with, I don't know, ASU. We can. We just renew it every 3 years. Again, I think the unintended consequences, thank you for the chuckle, that's very kind. The unintended consequences, there's potential, certainly, but I think they're very nominal. So let's see here. Oh, Ms. Jackman, it's your turn.
I'll come get that mic.
Mr. Jackman.
First of all, the 401 and the 402, they were put out to stop the Rumsey Park Master Plan. That was the plan. I've heard this group right here say, well, we can build it. We can build this community center. I have been here 22 years and I've yet to see anybody start towards it, okay? We need to do something. I loved it the other night when we were at Rumsey Park for the Republican barbecue and people were complaining about the toilet. There's one toilet that flushes in Rumsey Park. If it were privately owned, it would be closed. So, having said that, that was where the 401 and 402 stemmed from. I have been told by attorneys that it is poorly written, that it will cause a lot of lawsuits on many different levels. There's not one community, not one town, not one city in all of Arizona or New Mexico that have this type of law. I would like for you to really consider what you're doing. You get to vote. You can come to the council meetings. They're open. I go to the council meetings and there's 6 of us there. I'm amazed. If you're concerned, show up. Ask questions. Thank you.
And Mr. Higgins.
When I was asked to sign the position, I know it was presented to me that it was going to keep the town from going into debt with the Rumsey Park project. My son, when signatures were getting collected, he went to the dog park with his wife, and they were asked to sign it and told that the council wanted to get rid of the dog park, so sign this to keep the dog park. I talked to friends that went to Little League games and they were told, oh, these fields are going to be taken away or you're not going to be able to play here, sign this petition. So the main objective was to stop Rumsey Park. And I find it ironic that it's mainly spearheaded or led mainly by individuals that are new to the community, haven't lived here that long, and really haven't invested that much in the community to protect it from individuals that have been here a long time and have invested a lot in the community.
Mr. Ferris.
Yeah, if 401, 402 is to stop the Rumsey Park, process, then fine. I think it's a broken process. And when the initiatives were first being signed, we did not think that these things were going to be in place, even if voted on, before the Rumsey Park thing would be decided. So we were looking beyond Rumsey Park when that was done. And I feel like there's just been a lot of angry birds out there with this here going, well, we're going to do the Rumsey Park. You didn't do the YMCA, you didn't do this here, you guys are getting scrolled. I think there's a lot of emotion involved with it. And these propositions will keep transparency in front of the people as projects are put out there. It's not going to be rammed down our throat. If they have to sell it, they have to tell us what's involved with it. And transparency has not been the order of the day with the Rumsey Park project. We had to get 15%, and not all towns require 15% of the registered voters. We did that. That's over 1,800 signatures on both of these initiatives. So, and I think these things are important. I can see a scenario where you got ego, emotion, personal interest, and peer pressure of just 4 of the 7 council members and the mayor going with a project, voting on a project that would put a huge financial burden on this community. And for someone to think that they can't trust the people on these decisions, and they have this elitist, enlightened attitude that they know better than what we know as citizens, to be in a position to put that kind of burden and effect on the city, I think it's just wrong. It's just wrong. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And due to time, I think that we're going to conclude with the questions and move to the council member candidates' closing statements. They're each given 2 minutes for their closing statement. We'll proceed in alphabetical order. beginning with Mr. All, then Mrs. Chittick, then Janet Williams for Mrs. Dye, then Mr. Ferris, Mr. Golombowski, Mr. Higgins, and Mrs. Jackman. Mr. All.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, we've been doing this now for a while. I've had a lot of opportunity to speak with various groups. I see a lot of familiar faces in this room and a lot of new faces. The one thing that I always close with is I always encourage people, do your own research, do your own thought process, come to your own conclusions. Whether you are supportive of Transparent Payson or not, I've always encouraged that. Anymore, I'd like to encourage that people have civil debate about it as well. So again, thank you for coming tonight. Simply by being here this evening, all of you are more enlightened voters and educated voters, and that's only going to make for a better process in this election cycle. So thank you again. Should you see fit, I will gladly take your vote.
Mrs. Chittick.
I support and will vote yes on Home Rule, Proposition 400. I oppose and will vote no on Propositions 401 and 402. I believe in and support the political process of our constitutional republic, which tasks citizens with electing a mayor and council to conduct the business of running our town in a timely, efficient, and cost-effective manner. And I believe in not placing restrictions on their ability to do so. I believe that there should be a minimum length of time that a person should live in town before they are eligible to run for public office. I believe that associations matter. And I believe that character and integrity are not just words. They are guidelines by which one should live. I did not make the decision to run for council lightly. Campaigning and doing the job, should I be elected, has and will most assuredly have a tremendous impact on my life. However, I believe very strongly in giving back to one's community. I have volunteered and served on boards of directors. I've raised millions of dollars for charity, and I have rocked drug-addicted babies in nurseries. I have taught young women how to cook and children how to be nice. I have wrapped more Christmas presents for angel trees than I can count, and I've put together and shipped more care packages for our military than I want to count. I have attended funerals for drug babies and abused ones who had no one to pray for them. All of this while overcoming my own disability. I was born with a cleft palate, which has been repaired. I never considered it to be a disability, although it was always a consideration when putting myself out there in any way. Campaigning like this has proven to me that I can do anything as long as I believe in myself, and I do. I hope that I can count on your vote and your support for Kim Chittick for election.
Statement by Janet Williams for Shirley Dye.
Shirley's closing statement. When Shirley is elected to serve, she wants to revive the Payson Leadership Academy so folks who are considering serving on boards, task forces, or running for office have a well-rounded knowledge of town departments and their issues. She hopes to bring fiscal responsibility by deeply examining the budget, paring it down to increase police and fire salaries without increasing admin salaries or raising taxes. She hopes to help new and existing businesses capture tourist dollars instead of watching them pass through town, and make it easier for new businesses to easily get through the permitting process. Plus, develop workforce housing for employers and employees, as there are very few places to purchase or rent available. As a member of the Firewise Committee, she is committed to educating citizens on Firewise practices and will work to pass a reasonable Firewise ordinance with some teeth, but not so onerous that people have to remove many of the trees that they love. She will work to provide a recreation center with a year-round pool and has financial ideas for Payson to build it without the outside control and funding prescribed by community center partners in a 6320 and elected corporation running things. Shirley thinks her varied experience in work, politics, recreation, and board service would be a valuable asset to the council. She looks forward to elevate Payson to a more prosperous community for businesses, retirees, families, young people, and tourists. She is asking for your vote Thank you, speaking, Janet Williams speaking for Shirley Dye.
Mr. Ferris?
Yes, if there was a number of signs out there where the indication who was going to win, I wouldn't have a chance out there. I don't have the money to pay for the number of signs that other people do. But one thing we do need is clarity, and we need clarity. And at the Wednesday night meeting of the Friends of the Park, here was it, and it was pushed out in front of us at the tea party when I got up and was speaking with Hallie Jackson. They said she put it together, but I'm sure with the support of the Friends of the Park. And when I was up there and I was standing in front, and the picture in the paper had me reading something. Well, I opened this up and I started reading. I'm going, wow, this sounds familiar. This looks familiar. And so I went home and I looked up on the internet, and I found where a lot of that was plagiarized from. There's several articles, and I have them here. You'll see all the yellow highlighted areas in these articles. And these articles are written by companies, by a company, the first one here, that's in the business of selling, marketing, constructing 6320 corporations. And then even in those articles, they had things that were negative about 6320, some pitfalls. That didn't show up in here. And so if this is being pushed out there as this is the truth about 6320 corporations, which couldn't fit in a pamphlet anyway, then, I'm just saying, if you're going to deceive people at this level as you're campaigning, what are you going to do when you're on town council? And so, I just think we need clarity. I think we need to look up our information, do our due diligence like other people have, and get the facts and be open and honest with you. I was conflicted about presenting this here, but I think you citizens need to know.
Hi, I'm not a career politician. I didn't even ever dream I'd be up here running for a council. I ran because I seen this town going in the wrong direction where they would not let the people vote. They didn't even care about their voices. They just, well, you got in the council and I'm the mayor and that's the way it's going to be. We're going to vote for you and you're going to like it. Well, my wife wasn't for me running at first, and I said, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to run because I want to give the people a voice. And I've run on a grassroots. My own $500 is all I can spend. I've got 20 signs. I'm donating my money back to the parks so that they can have an extra kid or guy to pick up trash. So it's not about a job to me. I'm doing it for the people, because I don't believe the people are treated right in this town. I don't believe they spent the money or our sales tax where it was supposed to go. I believe they're all looking at administration, huge raises. I don't believe if you talk to all the workers, and I was one of the workers, they're not getting a raise. They're getting like 30-cent raise. And like Chris is saying, it didn't affect his business, the sales tax. Well, he's selling ice cream sundaes for $5. It's 5 cents more in sales tax. Of course it didn't affect them, but you get Chapman here and tell them and ask them how many cars deals they're losing because of the extra 1% sales tax. And that is a big deal. But the biggest deal is this council and mayor are going to do whatever they want. So in the next 2 years, you may have your sales tax raised another 1%, and you may be up to 12% before you know it. You're going to have a park with 2 ice hockey rinks in it, and a team from Canada that took it over. Thank you.
And Mr. Higgins?
I actually talked with the manager of Chapman today. He said they're doing good and their parks department are breaking records. So again, please look up information. There's information out there instead of just kind of listening to us spout off kind of what we think to be true or what I don't know what we believe. But go and find the information yourself. I want to thank the 2 groups for putting on the event tonight and everybody for coming out. And just wanted to share, somebody shared an email with me the other day about from a Payson resident who felt that Payson's horrible, they can't stand it, they want to leave. And today I encountered 2 people who have lived here, one 20 years, the other 4 years, and they described Payson as paradise. They said Payson is paradise. It's all perspective, really, and I'm kind of with the mayor, Craig Swarwood. I'm more of a positive person, and I see a lot of positive in this town, a lot of positive things happening, and I want to keep that to continue. And I also want to get home to play Uno with my children, so I'm going to give up the mic.
Mrs. Jackman?
First of all, I rather resent Jim's remark. That pamphlet was put together to give you to show you what the 3 phases were. So please read it. It was taken from part of our presentation that was done by an attorney. So I'm sorry that he finds it offensive or inappropriate. Meanwhile, let's get on to more positive things. I want to thank all of you for coming this evening. Once again, I want to ask you for the most precious thing you have. I'm going to ask for your vote. I guarantee you I'm not a liar. If anything, people don't like to hear the truth. So please get out and vote, whether you take it to the mailbox or if you go to the polls yourself. Once again, thank you very much to the Democratic Party and to the Republican Party and to Cliff Potts.
Thank you to the candidates. They're the ones that are ready to step up and serve our community, and I think that I hope that your opinions were influenced this evening, and I thank each and every one of you for stepping up with your willingness to serve, and I wish you all the best on your continued efforts. I want to thank our town staff that serves us so well, and in particular, and not limited to the town, but in our entire region, our first responders, our fire and police that really watch out for us and take care of us. And one more, yes, that's worthy of applause. One more thank you to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party that made this possible, the Nazarene Church for the facilities, and then also the individuals that served on the committee, Diane Green, Jeannie Herford, Donna Scully. I helped a little bit, and then Gary Morris and Chris Tilley. It was really an effective committee. We look forward to you exercising your right to vote, and we appreciate your participation in civil discourse and the civil sharing of opinions. And that concludes our program this evening, and thanks again to everyone for your interest.